All right, so we have some major news right now. I just spoke with Congressman Ro Khanna about the major White House admission that the second strike, the possible war crime, did actually happen, and how Caroline Leavitt threw the blame off of Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump and on to Admiral Frank Bradley. Now, Ro Khanna, who is on the Armed Services Committee, tells me that it would be an impeachable offense if Pete Hegseth ordered the second strike. For a long time, Republicans had been saying that, well, we don't know if this strike occurred. Now we have confirmation from the White House that the strike did occur. Now the new story is that it wasn't Pete Hegseth who ordered the strike. It was this Frank Bradley. And Ro Khanna is saying, well, it's time to haul up both Pete Hegseth and Frank Bradley up to Capitol Hill for a congressional inquiry. He says that a major investigation is going to be launched shortly by the Republican on the Armed Services Committee in the House, and that he is fully in support of this bipartisan investigation. But the walls really are closing in right now on Pete Hegseth and now Admiral Bradley, who is right in the crosshairs. And the question remains, did Admiral Bradley execute an illegal order given down by Pete Hegseth, or did he just issue this order on his own, which would be illegal based on what Republicans and Democrats have said in the past 36 to 48 hours. And so Congressman Ro Khanna is saying, well, if Pete Hegseth ordered this, it is an impeachable offense. And I want to jump right in to the interview with Ro Khanna. But before I do, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work and to spread the word here. Let's jump right in. Congressman Ro Khanna. Great to be joined this afternoon by Congressman Ro Khanna from California, who serves on the House Armed Services Committee. Now, Congressman, I want to jump right in and get your reaction to Caroline Leavitt's statements within the past hour or so, where she confirmed the second follow-on strike that many in your party, along with the Republican Party, have called a war crime. If true, she confirmed it, but deflected blame on Admiral Bradley, who's a senior military commander. So I want to get your reaction on what she said at the podium today.
First of all, there is bipartisan concern in the House Armed Services Committee. This is not the way America conducts business. It is a violation not just of international law, it is a violation of our Constitution and of national security law. The law is very clear. If people are there to surrender, if they are not a threat, you can't just order to kill them. And all the evidence says that Pete Hegseth gave the order to kill these two men who were not armed. That is a blatant violation of international law. Now, why should people care in America? Because if we start to do that, that is sending a license to the world that you can just go violate human rights and kill whoever you want with impunity. We've never done that. And that is why I have called for a hearing where Pete Hegseth comes to the Congress. He's going to come to the Armed Services Committee, and he needs to face the consequences. And I'll tell you something, I've been talking to more Republicans than even Democrats. There is outrage amongst Republicans at what is going on.
Do you believe that if it is confirmed that Hegseth gave the order to have the second follow-on strike, that would essentially be an impeachable offense?
Yes, it would. I mean, if you're not going to be impeached for violating international law and killing people, then what was impeachment for? It's the worst crime because, it affects all of us. I mean, Pete Hegseth is saying, you and me, our tax dollars are going to fund something that is killing someone who could have been innocent or who certainly didn't deserve to be killed. We're all part of this because he represents America and we're Americans. And that if we don't take action, then we're complicit. Then all Americans are saying it's fine what he did in our name, on our behalf, because when he acts, he's acting for all of us. That is why this is one of the most unconscionable acts, and I would argue one of the scariest things that Donald Trump, the Trump administration has done.
Now, the White House says that Pete Hegseth did not give the order, that it was Admiral Bradley who gave the order. Do you believe that Admiral Bradley should also testify in Capitol Hill to kind of get through this discrepancy?
Absolutely. And if a military general or a Navy admiral gave the order, then they need to be accountable too. But the point is, it could have been multiple people giving that order. It may have been that the admiral recommended it and Hegseth also signed off on it. Or it could have been that Hegseth ordered it and the admiral was obeying what Hegseth said. We need to know the facts. But this accountability needs to happen for anyone who gave an illegal, unconstitutional order. I mean, this is not very complicated. You have a boat where two people basically are unarmed, and the American government knows they're unarmed, and instead of interdicting them, instead of arresting them, they kill them. And just imagine the most lethal, powerful military in the world if we said we don't have to abide by international law. And then what message is that sending to Putin? What message is it sending to Xi Jinping?
Well, I got to ask you, are you at all concerned? Because for me, I look at this and you have the commander in chief and the secretary of defense both saying that they had nothing to do with an order given by their military. So are they either deflecting blame onto this lower level admiral who's still senior, or are they just trying to essentially, they don't know what's happening under their own noses? That to me is concerning.
My sense is they're deflecting blame. And the good thing is that the American people care enough about this, MAGA included, that they can't get away with saying, oh, let's just kill them. They're just all part of the narcotics trade. You know what they're finding out? The American people don't believe in that. We have a belief in this country about the dignity of every individual. We're a nation of faith where we believe in the holiness of every individual, that there is sort of a divine purpose to every human life. And we don't just think that this is a video game. As one of the senators who spent time with Hegseth and all said, they just thought, okay, blowing up these boats, it's kind of like a video game. And suddenly they found out, well, the American people, including MAGA, is appalled that you would just kill someone who's unarmed. And so they're backtracking and they're trying to find a fall person. I think they thought that the American people would be for them, for this tough guy routine. But it turns out that what is more sacred to us is our Constitution and the dignity of human life. And like in the case of Epstein, what this is exposing is a rift with MAGA. And that's where I really focus my efforts. A lot of people have focused on just calling out Trump, and I appreciate that. But I have focused on building relationships with Republicans, with MAGA allies, to say what Donald Trump is doing is betraying this country's interests, and that we need to call that out. And it's paying fruit now as more and more people are doing this.
Now, Congressman, you mentioned earlier in the interview that many Republicans are outraged about these strikes, outraged about this follow-on strike. What can you tell us behind the scenes that's happening right now? This bipartisan push, it seems like it's growing with every single day, but with this White House admission, I could only imagine the outrage that they're going to face now.
Well, we are about to announce an unprecedented bipartisan House Armed Services investigation into this illegal strike. That has to be authorized by Mike Rogers, the Republican chairman of the Armed Services Committee. And all indications are that he's going to do that. Now, I'm a leader and the ranking member of the subcommittee for AI and emerging technology. And my counterpart, Don Bacon, who's the chair of that subcommittee, has also expressed deep concerns. But you have a bipartisan leadership of the Armed Services Committee that is going to hold Pete Hegseth and the Admiral in front of the Congress. And they're going to have to explain to the American people what they did. And they're going to face a grilling by both Republicans and Democrats on the committee. Guess what? Suddenly the Congress has woken up. Maybe I think it was after the Epstein vote, because 427 people voted for my bill. And you know what? They're still in Congress and they don't have primary challenges. And in some cases, they're more popular in their districts. And so they've found out that you can stand up to the president, that your job when you're in Congress is to be a check and balance. And now we're going to see in the Armed Services Committee, finally, Congress asserting itself and standing up to a Secretary of War who is lawless and betraying American ideals, who's killing people on our behalf without our values or our constitutional checks.
Congressman, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you.
Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.